old man in Coast Guard uniform on duty at a port of embarkation. Sure, I know I'm too old to fight. I found that out when I tried to get back into the Navy. The doc was nice enough to give me an examination when I told him about the 3 hitches I'd done when I had more fuzz on my scalp. But, well, he said I'd better leave the fighting up to you out there in the Pacific. At first, I felt like a duck in dry dock, son, wanting to do something and being told I didn't have the stuff. It was all right during the day while I was on the job down at the garage with your Uncle Harry. We've been busy as the devil trying to keep old jalopies in tune. But in the evenings, when your mother and I'd be alone in the front room, reading a paper or listening to the radio, I'd get that doggone useless feeling again. And then one night I found out that a lot of other overage geezers had got the same feeling and were doing something about it. They joined up in the Coast Guard Volunteer Port Security Force. The idea is that by doing night patrol and sentry duty in the port areas, we can release regular Coast Guardsmen for sea duty. That man I'm talking to is head of the outfit I joined, Commander Roy Ward. He finished the last war as a major in the 361st Infantry, AEF. That little fellow enlisting is Eddie Mann, less than 4 feet high. The Army and Navy turned him down, but he doesn't give up easy. And that seaman, first class, he's talking to used to be Lieutenant Colonel in the Army. Of course, there's no pay in this outfit, and we're in for the duration. But when I stack that up against what you're doing, I don't bust any buttons. But come nighttime and Sundays, we're all back in school together for 90 days of military training, including that old close order drill. No, we don't look too good at first, but give us time. My pal there is Doc Newbold. Got a grandson in the Air Force. We've got lots like him. Quiet old fellows just doing what they're told the best they can. Before we go on the range, we have to get acquainted with the 38 we're going to carry. J.C. Russell knows the answers all right. He ought to, with a son in the Armored Force and a daughter piloting planes for the Ferry Command. I don't do so bad myself. But Jack Murphy's squeezed in so tight he forgets the answers before he can get on his feet. We get the works in those 90 days, even judo. The instructor was supposed to go a little light on it, but I still say the best part of judo is watching. Later, we try out what we learned in pistol class. One thing we've got to know is how to shoot straight and fast, because anything can happen on night duty around the docks. Harry Garrio served in the Marines and infantry. His boy's a Marine raider. This is Ed Cosbrook, whose son was in the Marines until they found out he was 15. Then he joined the Army Transport Service and was lost off the coast of Australia. It hit Ed pretty bad, but he just works all the harder. Well, finally comes the big day when we get into those Coast Guard uniforms for our first inspection. Our outfit was reviewed by Commodore Philip F. Roach of the 12th Naval District, no less. I'll let you in on a secret, son. He remembered me because I fixed his car once down at the garage. And now night duty from now on till the war's over, guarding the Liberty ship, patrolling the docks and piers against sabotage, guarding the warehouses, all the little jobs the younger fellows used to do. It's kind of lonely most of the time. But then some of the Salvation Army ladies show up with coffee and donuts, and we warm our innards against another stretch of that night air. We work hand in hand with another volunteer outfit, the Coast Guard Auxiliary. They patrol the bay while we cover the shore. That fellow standing topside is Virgil Rankin. He was in the Navy during the last war and has 2 boys in this one. No, they don't outrank their pop yet, but he's a little worried. During the day, we're about anything you can think of. Shipping clerk, merchant, executive, butcher. But at night, you couldn't tell us one from the other. Carpenter, florist, aircraft worker. Our bones may creak a bit, and some of us aren't too snappy in the military get-up. But we're doing our job in 17 American seaports now. And we'll keep on doing it till our boys get back home. Good luck, son.
It's a funny war, all right, when men who were your enemies a few months before end up marching at your side. But that's what happened behind the lines in Italy when some of the Italian Alpini, among the best mountain soldiers in the world, offered to show us the tricks they'd learned in a lifetime in the Italian Alps. We took them up on it so we could get the local slant on mountaineering to add to the training we'd received back in the States at posts like Camp Hale in Colorado. The fundamentals learned at home still applied in Italy. For instance, the hay burner was still the mountaineer's best friend, although that hardly looks like what you ought to do to a friend. The infantry in this war have had to be ready for any terrain, from jungles in the South Pacific to snow caps in the Arctic. Now the time had come when the mountains of Italy had to be tackled. For these mountains, which once were just pretty pictures on a postcard, had become fortresses for Hitler's men. Most of the mules only went up halfway. Then the going got too tough for them. But the doughboys, the infantry guys who never stopped, kept right on climbing. What turned out to be a tough and intensive course began with the Alpini and their Tyrolean hats and GI jackets giving us a demonstration. To these guys, transporting a mortar across a 1,000-foot chasm offered no problems at all. It was all ABC stuff to the Italians, who passed on a lot of valuable information to us on how to live and fight up there where the air is thin and where a slip is something you only do once. We knew we were watching experts, all right, when we saw them bring down a casualty from a mountaintop as easily as if they had an elevator installed up there. It was a maneuver, by the way, that came in mighty handy to the medics when we hit the front lines a couple of mountains away. Of course, there was a lot of speculation about these men who'd come over to our side. Maybe they were just trying to climb on the bandwagon. But most of us decided as we watched them go through their paces that it was probably just a case of a bunch of guys who'd seen what the terrible years of fascism had done to their country, and now wanted to help in every way they could to get rid of it. We had to hand it to the Alpini, who were as agile as mountain goats going up and down sheer cliff with their climbing ropes. They were men who knew their business, and they were well trained. It looked to us like the Italians were going to be hotter on the business end of a rifle firing at fascism than when they were firing for it.
On the eastern knob of Britain are Lend-Lease airfields of the 8th, where every day the forts and libs line up nose to tail for the attack, and every day rise thundering into British skies to form quickly and wing east with no waste of precious gas. These are the heavies of the 8th, heavy with bombs, and heavy with immense responsibilities to America, to Britain, to Russia, and to China. But each day also on other airfields in England, the twin-engine Marauders of the 8th get ready for their special part in the 8th Air Force's relentless pasting of Nazi Germany. It's these babies' job to flush out Goering's Luftwaffe by rocking Nazi airfields into rubble, day after day, week after week. The same way a smart fighter uses a left jab to open up the other guy for the knockout punch, up and down the enemy coastline the hawk-like Marauders range, blasting Hitler's military installations. They're softening up the enemy's defenses to give our heavies smoother sailing on their way to today's target, followed by the heavies of the RAF tonight. From still other British airfields come the swarming fighters of the 8th, thunderbolts with bigger belly tanks, scrappy lightnings, shock troops of the sky, to protect the heavy artillery of forts and libs as they punch into Germany once more, to KO another cog in the fascists' bleeding string of war plans. The air battle, and battle it is, may begin as the bomber fleet crosses the enemy coast and will last for 3 hours or more of hammering hell. All the way into the target and all the way out in relays, the fierce little wasps of the fighter command hang and buzz over the lumbering bomber armada, giving hell to the Nazi interceptors with better than a 4-to-1 ratio of victories. And wherever the bombers of the 8th have fighters beside them, not one of the Nazis' so-called secret weapons can keep the forts and libs from doing exactly what they set out to do. Remember one thing about this Battle of Germany. These are no longer just air raids, wreaking destruction on the scale of sabotage. Fascist Europe today is besieged by bombers. By day, the 8th Air Force is destroying Germany. By night, the RAF is destroying Germany. Hamburg, Essen, Cologne, Marienburg, Stettin, Kiel, Bremen, Düsseldorf, Schweinfurt, Berlin. This will not stop. Nothing Germany can do will stop this warfare of destruction which Germany began. From the judgment and courage of some boy crouched over his bomb site, on him alone is now focused all the work of hundreds of thousands of men and women who built this bomber and the fighters beyond his wing. Heavies go down in flames with their crews, and the fighters go down, and they don't come back. Sometimes the guts and stubborn skill of a flyer in his cockpit, fighting the controls of his ship, will save a fort, apparently in defiance of every principle that keeps a plane aloft. They've slugged their way back with 3 engines gone, or with tails and wings blasted to shreds, or control cables shot out, fighting off the Nazis, who love to spot the cripples in their run home and gang up on them. But the demand for cool courage and leather nerve doesn't stop with the sight of the British coast. Gas is always low those last few miles, and the damaged planes must be down. As one by one, the heavies come in from today's mission, another 8th Air Force chapter has been written in the history of the Battle of Germany. Men of the 8th have died today. Many more have been wounded. And in the 8th, hundreds of Purple Hearts already wear the oak leaf cluster. But this man's sacrifice has a meaning, and so does his. Together with the combat team of their fort, together with their group and wing and division, they've left a trail of smoking, broken war plants across the face of Germany. And because of them, countless thousands of American and British infantrymen and engineers and artillerymen will not have to die in the invasion of a Germany already crippled by destruction from the air. That's the story of the 8th U.S. Air Force. Tomorrow, when the sun comes up, they'll go again into the wide blue yonder. Target, Germany.
Not bad, but it don't do justice to me nose. Well, swimming at sundown and naked all over. Ah, just my meat. Why, it's Snafu. I never forget a face. No resistance.
Now, where did that little son of a gun go?
Just my type. Caught me with his pants up. But I'll show the little... Now for the soft underbelly of Snafu. Geez, I shot the wrong man. Right windage, 4. Range, 75. Bull at 4 o'clock.
What did you do in the big war, Daddy?
Oh, I did my share.
Just a moment, please. This program has come to you through the courtesy of my sponsors, the United States Army, distributors of GI repellent, mosquito nets, Atabrine tablets, and good old-fashioned horse sense. Gee, I wish the hell I'd used them.